Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos. So, since last week, Sunday, when we hosted the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, some of his statements and interventions have generated controversies. Things went so heated that the Nigerian Bar Association withdrew its invitation to the governor to speak at the annual conference. The governor spoke about the security situation in his state and in the country, and he has since replied the decision of the bar to disinvite him. The governor, in a statement, said, and I quote, "The circumstances of the last few days warrant some comments that a professional organization has elected to endorse a one-sided narrative on a profound national issue is something that its members may wish to reflect upon. For an association whose bread and butter is about justice to make a ruling based on the stridency of people who lampoon judicial processes against certain individuals without hearing the other side is odd. It bears noting that in its response to pressure, the NBA leadership has signaled an unfortunate embrace of injustice, unfairness, absence of fair hearing, and total disregard for the rule of law." The president of the NBA, Mr. Paul Osoro, has equally responded to the situation, especially at the comments from the governor of Kaduna State. Mr. Osoro wrote, and I quote, he says, "As the NBA president, I take full responsibility for the unintended embarrassment and tender my regrets and apologies. As an elected national officer of the association, I am personally answerable to NEC and cannot overrule its decisions even if I have different viewpoints and positions in regard thereto. TCCP as an NBA organ is in precisely the same position, and the same applies to all other committees of the NBA," end of quote. This has escalated badly too and divided the Nigerian Bar Association. Some branches of the NBA have since reacted to some of these issues. Some of them have threatened to boycott the conference. Today, when the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido, was also the former governor of the CBN, visited the governor, he made comments on the situation as it affects the security situation in Kaduna State and governance under Mr. El-Rufai. But we get to that is coming in a moment. Let's take a look at some of the issues that have been raised in the last few days. I'm being joined by a senior lawyer in Nigeria, Mr. Chino Obiago. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much, Mr. Obiago, for coming tonight on the program.
Thank you, Sharon.
I wanted to listen to what the former Emir of Kano said on this matter, and I'd like to get your reaction to that. Take a listen to what he said, former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido.
The governor of Kaduna State is not doing well. You should invite him to your conference and ask him. And let him explain what he's doing. And tell him what you think he's doing wrong. You will learn something from him. He will learn something from you. Disinviting him is not the path of people who actually want progress. Because if you disagree with someone, having him in your hall where you can tell him your view is the best way, and he can defend himself. And if there are things that he needs to improve, he will take them on board. And if there are things that you don't know that he's doing, you can be better informed. That is, I think, the best way to handle issues like this. But again, I have seen the response from different branches of NBA. I hope that this matter will not be turned into a religious and ethnic matter. It should be a matter of principle.
Senior advocate, what do you make of the statement of the former Emir?
Well, I think NBA is a pressure group, and the motto of NBA is to promote the rule of law. Remember, it is not just because of the killings in Southern Kaduna that NEC took a decision to disinvite His Excellency Governor El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. It's also about consistent disobedience to court orders. And the motto of NBA is to promote the rule of law. We expect that NBA should not allow in its fold anyone, a member of the executive, that consistently disobeys court order. Now, in addition to that, being a pressure group, they have a right to decide who they invite in the room where they're having a meeting. And if NBA says they don't want Mr. Rufai, then they should give them the opportunity. I mean, they should allow them to take that decision. I don't think it's something that Mr. Rufai should, grudge about, or his spokesperson should criticize NBA for doing that. Because the key issue is NEC has taken a decision on that.
Why did you invite him in the first place?
Well, like the President Osoro, President of NBA said, the Technical Planning Committee made that decision without reference to NEC. And they have brought the program of the event to NEC meeting. That this is the pre-conference NEC meeting. And the NEC meeting is supposed to take a decision take a final decision on the recommendations of the planning committee. And having looked at the program itself, that is not the only area that is tinkered. They have then has the power to say, well, we don't want this person, we do want this person. Of course, you know that at the meeting on Thursday, there were divided opinions. People voted against and for. But the majority of members of the NEC opted to disinviting because of what is happening in Southern Kaduna and also disobedience of court orders.
The basis at which Mr. El-Rufai was, the conditions or the reasons NEC gave, or those who petitioned the technical committee, the planning committee, over his invitation, those bases were they of optics, or were they substantial cases against Mr. El-Rufai?
Well, I think they are very substantial, my own personal opinion. We've seen what one can even consider as a genocide in Southern Kaduna, and running over several years. And we've seen a governor that has been in second term, who has done nothing, less than nothing, to curtail the killings.
Would it be fair to say he has done nothing?
No, I said little or nothing, because we don't have records of people who have been properly investigated, prosecuted for huge, massive, and systematic massacre going on in Southern Kaduna. I mean, it is very appalling that a village will be raised down in a state where a chief executive is the chief security officer, and we don't see concerted effort. We don't see, a commitment, a good faith commitment to bring to justice those responsible for those massacres. And they're going on up to today. So how will MB as a pressure group justify bringing the chief executive that has taken no stand, that has not fought massacre, genocide in his state into his fold? Now, disobedience of court orders. We have people who have been in detention arising from Kaduna.
Just a moment.
Yes.
Let's touch on the issue of security, because I spoke just last week, I spoke with, just about this time, I was speaking with the governor of Kaduna State. And one of the things that he said was that the situation is an age-long matter. And that matter, I asked him a few questions about his decision as a governor and the government of Kaduna State in curtailing and ending the crisis, the security situation in the state. But he also made it clear, or he said on the program last week, that it's not, Kaduna State is not the only state confronted with this issue. Zamfara, Sokoto, and other states in northwestern region of the country are experiencing this. So would it be fair to say he has done nothing?
It would be fair to say he has done little or even nothing. Because remember that he's been judged in the court of public opinion. And the public opinion is so overwhelming. When this issue came up on the NBA, 1,500 people endorsed that he should be disinvited within 3 days. It is very remarkable. Now, I know that this is security across Nigeria. I know there's a lot of criminality. But when a particular sect of people, the Southern Kaduna, are targeted, what happened to other parts of Kaduna State? What has the governor done to secure the lives of people in that area? That is the question. And the space is there for him to say what he has done to do that. You know, I watched the program last week, and there's nothing concrete that he has said he has put on ground. Now, if you see, on daily basis, people you are ruling are being killed. What have you done to do that, to stop those killings? That is a critical question. And the NBA as a pressure group, remember that. NBA is a pressure group. The NBA as a pressure group that is there to promote the rule of law has the right to decide that we need to make a statement on this. We need to demonstrate that we don't support this kind of massacres.
Does it necessarily mean that the NBA was right in this case?
Well, I think the NBA as a pressure group was right. I'm a member of NEC, and I know the debate was robust. There was a lot of arguments for and against. But I think the NBA is right. I personally also think that NBA should have gone further than El-Rufai and disinvite people, everybody in government that has supported the disobedience of court orders. We lawyers, we believe in rule of law. And what is rule of law? That everybody is equal before the law. That the judgments and orders of the court must be obeyed.
But did the NEC consider disinviting other people? Because some, like Jigawa State, some Northern Kaduna State, NBA, a few other states, branches of the NBA, have said that they will boycott the conference on this note. This has divided the NBA, isn't it? Is it good for the NBA?
Well, we have 120 branches of NBA, and the National Executive Council Committee is the national body of NBA, so it's the highest decision-making body of NBA, apart from the general meeting. So if branches opt out of the conference because of this issue, NEC has a power to sanction them, because NEC is actually NEC that created those branches. So if NEC takes a decision and a branch goes against the decision of NEC, then NEC can come back and say, well, you have to explain to me why you need to go against the decision of the body that created you.
But for some of your colleagues who believe that El-Rufai is a governor that was invited, other governors also, they have been always picked in their invitation. Did NEC consider disinviting them the same way they disinvited Mr. El-Rufai?
Oh, well, that's the point I made earlier on, that I would have gone further if I was the president of NBA. And for us, I must say that the apologies of the president of NBA is completely unnecessary, because NEC has taken a decision. Making an apology does not arise at all. Now, I would have gone further to disinvite people like the Attorney General of the Federation, because we have on record more than 50 decisions of the court, orders of the court that have been disobeyed by this government. And how will you get the Attorney General of that nation to come to an NBA conference? An Attorney General that says that national security takes precedence over the rule of law and human rights. You don't say that in a nation with lawyers, because the lawyers are there to promote the rule of law. So they would have gone ahead to disinvite governors who, in their domain, there are a lot of killings and insecurity, and they're doing nothing. I'm not saying that the governors will stop insecurity in a day, but they need to demonstrate that they are fair, and they are treating everybody in their state equally, and that they're providing security for all citizens in the state. And unfortunately, that is not the situation in Kaduna State.
All right. So you heard what the former emir said, that he thought that the NBA would have given Mr. El-Rufai the opportunity to come in the room and be asked question, and he's being given opportunity of a hearing on what he is doing. And if he's doing anything right, he might be able to be commended. If he's doing anything wrong, it might be asked and might exchange knowledge on how to do better. With the benefit of hindsight, do you think that the NBA could have allowed Mr. El-Rufai in the room and be questioned on some of these governance decisions that he has made and policy decisions?
Well, NBA is not Channels Television. Channels provided a platform for Mr. El-Rufai to do that last week. He did not. NBA is a pressure group. They said that they took that decision to make a statement that Nigerian Bar Association in this new regime will not tolerate accommodating or, romancing with people who abuse the rule of law. That is his statement. It's a pressure group. So NBA has said it, and it's like an NGO undertaking a campaign. And that statement should send a signal to all Nigerian officials who think that because of immunity, they can get away with constitutional immunity, they may not get away from immunity from prosecution in the court of public opinion. And I think that's a very strong statement. I mean, we remember the time of Akaba Sharu, for instance, under the military. Remember the time of, Okosan, president of Nigerian Bar Association, who is saying no to any abuse of human rights, any abuse of the process of rule of law. The NBA in this country has boycotted the courts because the military has taken a wrong step in prosecuting people who are alleged to be, corrupt. So NBA has always consistently, except recently, where the politics of Nigerian Bar Association has really gone awry, NBA has always stood as a pressure group to protect the rule of law. And I think in that light, that it's important to say that the NBA took a right decision. We haven't said that. I think that Mr. El-Rufai has opportunity even as the space still provided, to defend himself, to say what he's doing in respect to Southern Kaduna. We need to see a stop to massacre in Southern Kaduna. We need to see the governor of Kaduna State do something about it. And not just in Kaduna State, across the country where there's huge insecurity. We need to see the government doing more to stop the massacre and the wastage of life across the country. It is getting out of hand.
Okay, since you are a member of the inner bar, let me ask you, for the concept and policy of fair hearing, would you say MBA has given Mr. El-Rufai fair hearing?
Well, MBA has invited him. It's a prerogative, it's a privilege. And MBA has said, well, we're sorry, we're no longer going to invite you because majority of our members.
But it does look like the MBA has made a judgment that Mr. El-Rufai is wrong.
Well, MBA is not a body that's putting Mr. El-Rufai on trial. MBA is a pressure group made up of members, 80,000 plus members.
You said that the MBA has made a decision and is majorly in the court of public opinion. And we know what that means. Even in court of public opinion, it shapes the lives of people.
Yes.
Do you think that the MBA has given Mr. El-Rufai fair hearing?
Yes, well, I think a number of members of MBA has consistently demanded that something be done about Southern Kaduna.
But has he been given fair hearing?
Well, he has been given an open space. There is a public space for him to do something about
But
Kaduna
has
State.
the MBA, because MBA made a judgment that it does look like their judgment is Mr. El-Rufai is wrong and we are disinviting him. But has the MBA allowed him to be heard?
MBA did not make a judgment. MBA simply made a statement.
But that's
Took a position.
You took a position
Yes,
that you're a member of the NEC of the MBA.
Yes.
And the decision after that meeting is the decision of the majority that Mr. El-Rufai is not worthy of your invitation because of some of the allegations against him.
Yes.
That means it's a judgment.
Well, no, it's not. MBA is not a court. MBA is a pressure group that has said what they are doing in Kaduna State does not accord with our principles, with our motto, with our mission and vision. But therefore, we can't have it in our fold. And MBA has a right to decide who comes to their conference and who does not come to their conference.
You said that MBA had made a decision that mattered in the court of public opinion.
Because majority of Nigerian lawyers endorsed disinviting Mr. El-Rufai. And NEC, being a democratic organization, took that decision for the majority. It was put into vote, and majority of NEC members voted for disinviting him.
Okay.
So there's nothing anybody can do about that. The president cannot, even though the president himself said that he voted for not disinviting him. But the majority of NEC members said so. So El-Rufai lost in the court of public opinion, but that's a statement, not a judgment. It is a statement, an advocacy statement to show to the Nigerian ruling class, the political society, that there are people who are called lawyers in Nigeria who will not tolerate impunity, who will not tolerate governors not doing what they are elected to do, and who will not tolerate just sitting back and allowing people being massacred, citizens being massacred. Nigerian lawyers has now made a point that we are not going to tolerate that.
Right.
Not just with El-Rufai, with all the executive members, people in government, including the Attorney General of the Federation.
Let me get a minute comment from you on the KAMA law, the Companies and Allied Matters Act. SERAP as a body has come out to say that assent should be revoked by the president. What's your take?
Yes, I agree. I mean, well, not every part of the KAMA amended 2020 law act that, in my opinion, offend the principle of rule of law and human rights. I think the provision that allows the commission to deregister a pressure group like an NGO, like a religious body, is very arbitrary.
Is it against policy of standard practice across in some part that we see in some part of the world?
Yeah, well, in some parts of the world, of course, in many countries of the world, there are commissions or committees to deal with charities. And those are professional charity management bodies, not a company registration body. Not a company. KAMA is a company registration body. They don't have the competence to now look into books of charities. If the law set up a charity commission to look at proceedings of charity. That's a different thing.
All right.
But to give the commission the power to deregister a charity is very arbitrary. And I think it closes the social space for charities.
Mr. Chino Obiagu, thank you indeed for coming tonight and sharing your views on some of these issues that we've raised tonight, everyone. And up next, the accusation and counter-accusation of allegations of planned violence ahead of the Edo governorship election generates controversies. We'll look deep into that after this time out, everyone. Join us again. Welcome back to the program, everyone. Don't forget to let us know what your views are on the issues that we're discussing tonight on the program. You can tweet to us on these handles that you're seeing right on your screen at CTV Politics and at Sean Walking on Twitter, hashtag Sunday Politics or hashtag Politics Today. Or write to us. Our email is politicstoday@channelstv.com. It's less than a month to the Edo State governorship election. But one thing that perhaps gives one some level of concern is the worry over possible violence. The different political parties, especially the top ones, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress APC, have been accusing each other over plans to foment trouble. Let me introduce my panel to you and let's get started with the conversation. And from the different divides on this matter, Mr. Kenneth Imaswagbon is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. He's in our Abuja studio. And from Benin City, he's a former member of the House of Assembly in Edo State, Honorable Henry Idahiagbon. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight on the program. Let's get started on the conversation tonight. And perhaps I should allow Mr. Imaswagbon, let me begin with you, to listen to these sound bites from the former governor of Edo State on the issue of violence when he visited the villa. Take a listen to Mr. Adams Oshiomhole after he visited the president, and this was what he said after the meeting they had. This was what he said after the meeting. Take a listen to him.
So I shared this with Mr. President, and I said, all we just need is good security. If APC man commit an offense, arrest him. If a PDP man commit an offense, arrest him. Once it is not about sermon. Sermon do not change the heart of the devil. What change the heart of man is the fear of sanction. And once one person is arrested from APC, another person is arrested from PDP if they are found involved in unlawful possession of firearms and they misuse those firearms, and they are arrested and prosecuted, the message is clear.
Mr. Imaswagbon, what's your reaction to what Mr. Oshiomhole has just said there? I know your party has been raising issues about plans of violence, but it does look, from what he said, there seems to be allegations and counter-accusations from both sides of the divide.
Thank you, Sean, for having me on your program. God bless you, Sean, your family, and Channels organization. Well, we know Oshiomhole. He says one thing, he means the other. If he says to you good morning, he means actually good night. The fact that he's saying that people that have the propensity to cause violence should be arrested means it's the person that wants to cause violence. This is a governor that we know for 8 years. For example, Seun, today as we speak, we know that Governor Obaseki is a man of peace. He loves peace. He's a peaceful governor. If you go to Edo, I just came back from Benin to Abuja today. I'll be back tomorrow to, God willing, to Benin. All Governor Obaseki posters, majority, Oshiomhole and his men, APC, they go from at night, like night marauders, they tear and destroy posters of a sitting governor only because this man loved the way of peace. We are lucky in Edo to have a governor like Obaseki. However, if you look at Governor Oshiomhole's history, he's a man that have lived all his life fighting wars. He's a man of violence. I have cried out to the world, to the police, I've cried out to the SSS, I've cried out to the federal government, even to international organizations, to America and many other countries, that Oshiomhole is having me on his assassination list. I mean every word I say. I now ask the world and Oshiomhole, why would you want to assassinate Kenneth Imuasangmo, who in 2007 stepped down his political ambition, governorship ambition for you, when you just had one car? I stepped down after spending money. I stepped down my political ambition, governorship.
Let me apologies to sorry
bosses.
No, just to clarify things, because just a moment, just hold on, please. You made an allegation, and a very strong one, that there is an attempt on your life. Can you clarify what you mean by that? Is there evidence to it? Is there anything that you can show to justify what you've just said?
Yes. One, all over the deputy governor, the serving deputy governor, Philip Shuaibu, on credible intelligence, said there were meetings held by some Kogi people in Iyamu, in Governor Oshiomhole's house, where some PDP leaders were marked on a hit list to be assassinated. The idea was cause confusion in Edo State, kill 1 or 2, 3 PDP leaders. That would make INEC to say, look, we cannot not conduct this election under this atmosphere. And my name was listed as one of those to be assassinated. And I asked, well, why would Oshiomhole hold such a meeting in his house? Why would they enlist Kenneth Imuasangmo to be assassinated? For employing Nigerians in Abuja and in the past 25 years teaching Nigerian children, for giving scholarship to men and women in uniform over 25 years, military, navy, police officers, for sharing rights over the past 16 years, for paying hospital bills at the UPTH. Is that why you want to kill me for supporting Obaseki? Yes, I stepped down for Governor Obaseki. It is my choice. I do not have a regret. However, Sheung, if we had a country, good country, where things are done properly, people like me who have never done federal government contract, no state government contract, no government patronage, I should be given national honor rather than for people who never went to school to wanting to kill me. But there is God, they can't kill me. God is watching.
Let me
President Buhari is a good man, he's a father. I know he will not allow me to be killed. Americans are watching. I know I have strong ties with the United States of America. I cannot be killed. If I'm killed, there will be consequence. When I say there will be consequence, I mean there will be consequence. So it is. So,
Mr. Imuasangmo, just a moment, Mr. Imuasangmo. Let me bring the
up for him.
Yeah, let me bring the other guests into the conversation.
What he's doing.
Honorable Udahi Agbon, let me bring you into the conversation. I'll allow you also to respond to these soundbite from the chairman of the PDP, Mr. Uche Secondus. Take a listen to what he said, and I would like to hear your response on it.
And the chief of staff and the former chairman of APC. We have tensions in the north. Tension, northeast, northwest, everywhere. And yet, they are in the villa under the watch of Mr. President, want to use the securities to clamp down. Are we in police state?
Those are strong allegations there, Honorable Udahi Agbon. What would be your response?
Well, thank you, Sheung. Let me first correct your introduction of my humble self. I have never been a member of the House of Assembly, and I do not plan to contest the election into the House of Assembly. I am immediate past Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice at Edo State, the member of the House of Assembly. Before I respond directly to the soundbite that I've had the privilege of listening to, let me say that Imuasangmo's bogus functions, national television, is something of the responsible citizens of those states that he ought to be. Adams Oshiomhole is a man of ideas. He's an orator, not a man of violence. I have not been associated with violence. My friend Kenneth was trying wolf when he's done, and I took him up. Granted that interview of what political relevance is Imasuagmo in those politics to be deserving of an assassination. Anyone who has never contested for councillorship he has not been councillor, he has never been anything. So nobody is planning to assassinate any let alone Kenneth Imasuagmo. He's just crying wolf. As for the reckless statement of the PDP national chairman, which is economist, let me say very clearly, and I'm also make it clear after meeting with Mr. President, that anybody that is engaged in any violence during the process leading up to and on election day in the state should be fairly treated by the law without any fear of favor, even if the person is an APC member. And that's how a statesman should say. I belong to the school of thought, and I shared with the former President Jonathan that no election is worth the blood of any citizen, whether of the state or of the country. And our party, the APC, we are a peaceful party. When PDP went to pay the courtesy call on the Oba of Benin, and then they brought their talk because Kapelosa Akumbo was there, 7 members of the PDP were arrested by the police in Edo. We are still waiting for the arraignment in court today. That they are yet to do. So the violent party in Edo State is the PDP, is Kenneth Imasuagmo's party, and not the APC. So they should start crying wolf. The deputy governor addressed a press conference claiming that some people are going to be assassinated. That is precisely their plan. I that am speaking to you now, I am a survivor of the assassination plan by the governor on the 30th of January 2020. I have 77 bullet holes in my office at Siloko Road in Benin City, broad daylight, 1:30 p.m. So, the PDP are trying to get state. Yes, there have been tension here and there. The tension has been caused by the PDP. The APC is a peaceful party. Our candidate is a man of peace, is a man of God, a pastor, is a renowned, a redeemed church of God. And we are going about our campaign peacefully. Yesterday, we were in the local government, we went to several villages. There was not a single incident. The PDP went to Igwebe. There were no people to welcome them at Igwebe. They started shooting into the air and caused commotion. They went to the north, shot. There's not a single shot in all our APC campaigns. And we have advanced the length and breadth of the 18 local government areas. So, who is the aggressor here? Who is the violent party here? It is the PDP.
All right. So let me go back to Abuja. And the issue of performance and ideas that are going to be shared in this election are very critical. Before I do that, I wanted to listen to what the candidate of the APC said about the situation in Edo State. This is Pastor Eze Yamu talking about the state of roads in Edo State. Take a listen to him.
There are no roads. You can see the kind of detour we have to take to get here. There's no water. There's no light. No new schools. No support from government. No hospital. So they are more or less on their own, abandoned, so to speak. And my coming here is just to assure them that because I know their problems, because I live among them, we will ensure by their votes and by government, we'll be able to solve them.
You heard what the candidate of the APC said about the state of things in Edo State. Does it give you some jitters as a member of the PDP in the campaign?
Well, Seun, Governor Obaseki is a marvel, is a genius. We've never had it in Edo since this republic. Among all the governors, Obaseki has been the finest. He's a guru, a financial expert. Look at what he has done with roads. This is a governor, Governor Obaseki. He has made or created 350 roads in Edo. Only 4 days ago, he was in my village during his war tour. I had the privilege of, for the first time in my life, commissioning a road under the grace of Governor Obaseki. In education, he's a perfect governor. He's been able to retrain teachers. Teacher salaries are paid as at when due. Roof of schools that Oshomole couldn't do, Obaseki have done major schools. Our schools today is modern and tailored through a modern ICT school system. Teachers are happier now. The teachers of Edo State, they are going to vote for Obaseki massively. Pensioners that Oshomole could not pay for 8 years. Today, as I speak, Edo pensioners are ready to pay back during the election, to pay the good work of Obaseki in paying their pensions arrears that were owed by Oshomole's administration. Obaseki have cleared all those. Hospitals, what about the hospitals? We've got the best hospitals today in Edo State. In the 192 wards, every ward in Edo State, Obaseki have an hospital, a clinic, modern clinic, today in 192 wards. He has been able to do that. What about attracting investors to Edo? The Azura plant, the Oshomo plant. What about the refinery, the modular refinery? Creating over 10,000 jobs at completion. It's been able to bring Chinese. It's been able to bring international companies to trigger the development and lay a formidable foundation for a new Edo. For Obaseki, what we are seeing is a huge blessing. He doesn't make noise about it. He's a gentleman who does his job silently. While if, in the days of Oshomole, if he ties 1 kilometer road, he will get all the press and be shouting and be walking on the streets. A man for 8 years who never did anything in Edo State. Unlike an Obaseki is performing, but who is not making noise. My take and my thanksgiving to my Creator is that I'm grateful to God that I, Kenneth Masongbo, is supporting Obaseki rather than a violent party or led by Oshomole, rather than a party that has failed the Edo people. You will see the result. We are going to defeat APC 80 to 20%.
So, Mr. Masongbo, let's again allow Honorable Idayagbon to come back to the conversation. Honorable Idayagbon, I'd like you to respond to what Mr. Masongbo had to say, but take a listen to what Governor Godwin Obaseki said about the situation and the performance. Take a listen to Governor Godwin Obaseki in a moment.
In Edo today, you have more electricity than we can consume. The problem we have is distribution. So this is our second term. We will now make sure that that light, that electricity, which we're already generating in Edo, gets to every home in Edo State.
So, Honorable Idayagbon, your response on what the governor said on that podium and what Mr. Masongbo said too.
You see, Mr. Masongbo does not live in Edo State. He lives in Abuja and then in Washington, D.C. The Edo State described by Masongbo just now before Nigerian people is the Edo State of Masongbo's dreams. Not the Edo State where I live in. I don't live in Abuja and I don't live in Washington. That Obaseki has built clinic in 192 wards, that he has started 350 roads. I challenge Masongbo and I challenge his governor to name 10 out of the 350 roads. In Metropolitan Benin City, Obaseki has started only 3 roads. The first is Lucky Way by Ramat Park in Ikpoba Hill. The second is Iriri Road, linking Airport Road to Sapele Road. The third is a Highman and Television Road. It's one straight road. Those are the 3 completed roads in Metropolitan Benin City. I was born here. I have never lived outside of this place, and I'm here. I slept in here yesterday, and I will sleep here this night. The 4th road is a Kama Road and is abandoned. There are pockets of lanes and avenues in the GROA done with C4 and NDDC. That is all. No other road. I challenge him to mention roads, to mention the streets. I have mentioned streets. It was the campaign program of campaign promise of Governor Obaseki that he will build clinics in the 192 wards. In fact, he said 18 is a campaign. He's dumb. The only politician that can compare with Obaseki in the entire wide world is President Donald Trump. Obaseki went to Okpela. The Okpela of Okpela deliberately took him through the worst roads to the venue of their rally. And when he got there, he said, oh, this road is very bad. If I don't tie it in the next 2 years, if you vote for me, don't call me governor again. What will they call you other than governor? He went to Ilushi. He said for the past 5 years, and that's most local government. He said for the past 5 years, you people don't have electricity. I will give you. He forgets that for the past 5 years, 4 years of it, he was the governor. Obaseki is a scam. He came to con Edo people. He's a con man.
Let me allow Mr. Maswagbo to react to what you have said tonight about the performance of the governor. You've mentioned the issue of electricity, the refinery, and the issue of the hospital. Mr. Maswagbo, how do you react to those?
You know, my friend Idagbo, his comments are laughable. The risk karma is Oshomole, APC, and their candidate. I find it difficult at times. I wonder why we Nigerians don't appreciate nice people like Obaseki. This is a man that is committed to Edo development. My friend Idagbo's pain is that Obaseki coming has changed the narrative of sharing the money. He refused to give money to politicians. He said, look, I want to do work for the ordinary Edo people. And he's doing the job. Obaseki is a huge blessing. Never in the history of politics since 1999 have we seen a performing governor like Obaseki. I'll tell you, Shehu, in area of roads, in my ward, he's done 2 roads. In my local government, he's done over 12 roads. I have followed him over 80-something wards now. We've been campaigning, Chris Cotton, we are campaigning. Come and see the approval of Edo people. The problem with APC, they cannot stomach that they are going to lose this election. Each time they see the followership, the acceptance of Obaseki against a drowning godfather who runs to Abuja believing that President Buhari, with all what he has done to Nigeria, will, because of Oshomole, cause bloodshed and use the military to rig election. Buhari is not going to do that. I can promise that. Buhari will choose to be in history, to write his name down in gold, than to allow Oshomole and APC frustrated people in Edo. The risk come out today is Oshomole and his APC people in Edo. They cannot even fathom that, oh, we are losing. PDP was in opposition for 12 years in Edo. We did not die. Oshomole was in opposition during Jonathan. We did not die. Jonathan allowed Oshomole and he won 18 local government. Look, no, if Oshomole like, and make I talk for pidgin English, make it bring the whole, even American army, Nigeria army. General Brutai, I love you. I love you. I knew you as a major. I know your thoughts, I know your values. You will not succumb to Oshomole's antics. Allow the will of the people to prevail, though that is the only way forward for the country. To allow Nigeria now to have crisis in Edo because of Oshomole and because Isaiah Mu must be governor. Alba, God is watching, oh. We Edo, we are waiting, oh. We will wait for the INEC. INEC, we are waiting. We are waiting for you to do what is right, so that at the end of the day, Professor Mahmoud, the day you will die, you will meet with your God and you say, oh, I fought a good fight for Nigeria. Like Jega have done. Today, Jega is a hero because he did the right thing. INEC, military, police, IG, do the right thing. All right. If Obaseki loses in a free and fair election, I will be the first person to tell him, you fought a good fight. All right.
Let me allow Mr. Adiagbo to come back into the conversation. And now, let's do some analysis now. Just a moment, Mr. Maswagbon. I'd like you to react to what some of the issues that have been raised here as regarding issues of violence and some of the allegations against the leader of your party, Adams Oshiomhole. But look at what happened in 2016. The APC candidate then, who is now the PDP candidate, Godwin Obaseki, won the election with 52% of the vote. With your candidate, who is now the APC candidate, was then the PDP candidate, winning with 41%. What do you think could happen this time around? From your own analysis, I know you're a strategist also, Honorable Idayam.
I am, and people like Kenneth Maswagbon, they are baby politicians when we talk. The baby, it's just been garrulous. Let me tell you, Obaseki winning with 52% in 2016 shows the strength of Pastor Sagi Ezeyamu, our candidate. Pastor Sagi Ezeyamu has been the issue in Edo State politics since the beginning of this republic in 1999. I have said it before, and let me repeat it here. If there are 100 former political office holders in Edo State today, Sagi Ezeyamu has been responsible and has contributed mostly directly and sometimes indirectly to at least 80% of them attaining whether elective or appointive office. And in spite of the fact that Oshiomhole was a sitting governor, in spite of the fact that Oshiomhole worked, the only governor you can compare Oshiomhole with in Edo State is Ogbemudia and Professor Ambrose Ali. Oshiomhole is generally referred to as the apostle of development in Edo State. In spite of all that, we could only defeat Pastor Sagi Ezeyamu then with just 52 to 48%. Let me tell you now, that guy making out there, he probably will not be in his village is called AKK Quarters in Ubihaja. He probably will not be there on September 19th to vote because he will be in Abuja, he will be in Washington, D.C. When coronavirus started, he ran to Washington, D.C. because he thought it was going to kill all of us here in Africa, in Nigeria. Thank God he didn't kill us. Now, as we speak, the election in Edo State, if you ask me to rate it objectively, 70-30%. 70% as we speak today for Pastor Sagi Ezeyamu, and we intend to ramp it up to 80% before the election, and a paltry and miserly 20% to Governor Obaseki. In every local government he has gone to. In fact, the people of Eastern Southeast, Ubiaja as capital, they will not allow Kenneth Maswagbon to enter their local government. I haven't lied on national television that he has started 12 roads in his local government and 2 in his ward. I am from a local government. It is one of the 3 metropolitan local governments in Edo State. I have been an elected council chairman of that local government. Obaseki has not graded 1 road. As we speak, Pastor Sagi Ezeyamu, who is just a candidate, had to send caterpillars and bulldozers to my own ward 1 to be grading the roads in order to allow people to be able to move. And then you are telling me the man left Metropolitan Benin to go to Ubiaja, to go and tap 14 rows? That must be in your imagination. Let me tell you, the pastor has a simple agenda. Because of his deep involvement in governance issues, and he has had the opportunity to reflect on governance issues in Edo State, he came out with an agenda. It's a document with which you can reckon his performance by the time he's elected by the grace of God come September 19. The S of the people,
Honorable Idayam, because let's spend the last few minutes that we have to allow Mr. Maswagbon to react to you. If you look at the results of the 2016 election, in Igweben, Oredo and Orion, it was a very, very tough battle in 2016, with sometimes 1,000, less than 1,000 votes between the 2 major candidates, that is Sagi Ezeyamu and Godwin Obaseki. He said that they're going to beat your party 70% to 30%. What is your analysis of how this election is going to pan out?
Sure. This is laughable still. You know, the pain of my friend, the Idayam, is that he cannot fathom that they are losing power. I pity him. All over since we left school, he's always been around corridors of power. He licks Oshiomhole's wounds and feet. He can say anything on national telly. I create jobs. I build jobs. I'm from the private sector. I have contributed to Nigeria more than a serving governor. But let's leave that. I will not talk to him. However, on Obaseki, Obaseki is set to win. The other person leading the charge of APC is a known scammer. When I say a scammer, a political 419 and a godfather kneeling down. See Oshomole kneeling down. They are begging. Now all their tricks have failed. They have resorted to kneeling, begging. And the people are saying, no, our mumu don't reach. We not go agree. We want Obaseki who have said, no, I would rather give the money to the people to develop hospitals, schools, make create jobs, make life for the ordinary, the weak people. Look, let me tell you, Sheung, and the world knows, and we've just gone around the world tour. The people have made up their mind. While we are doing world campaign, they don't even have the audacity to go to the wars. They are running to President Buhari and INEC, to Abuja. They don't know INEC, Abuja, those are games of the past. The game of the present, that democracy is the people's business. We in Edo, we are resolved. We the people of Edo do hereby declare that we want democracy. Buhari wants democracy. The army wants democracy. That Professor Mahmoud will allow democracy rather than to allow Oshomole and others to write results. If you ever write results, we will not accept it. I wouldn't accept it. I don't want to reply my friend because I understand his frustration. A man who hasn't created one job in his life, moving from one government to the other and licking their wounds. I can talk because I'm a builder of the Nigerian economy. I have over 700 graduates under my payroll. I pay taxes. I go to Washington. I take the skills of Washington and bring it back to Abuja.
We have to leave it at that, gentlemen.
Collecting kobo from Oshomole and others.
All right.
We shall see.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kenneth Umasu-Agbon, chieftain of the PDP, and as well as Honorable Henry.
Is my junior as a lawyer. And he knew that I practiced for over 10 years. Has never won his
We're out of time, and we need to close the program now. Honorable Henry Idaya-Agbon and Mr. Kenneth Umasu-Agbon. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your talk tonight. And that's our show for today. Everyone, many thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening.